Greetings and welcome to station WDWL TV, located on Grumpy Vulture Boulevard, and my studios are located on Grumpy Old Man Road, and we are a division of Grumpy Vulture Productions. Take a bow. Alright. Before we get started, guess what I found? Look what I found. He didn't hide it that good. You didn't hide it that good. Just kidding. Maybe. Alright. It has not been a good 2 weeks in the WDWL TV studios. First of all, remember when I told you we had a massive hard drive failure? Well, this is what a hard drive looks like. In the older style computers, the new computers, they're a lot smaller. But this is a hard drive. And as you can see, Grumpy wrote on it, dead. Because it is. First time I've ever had a hard drive lock up. This thing will not budge. Now, this has a really fast spinning wheel and a needle, and the inside of a hard drive is neat. Looks like it's got a little miniature DVD inside of it with a needle that reads all the tickle bites. Well, no matter what I do, bang on it, drop it, hit it with a hammer, it's dead. So, I notify the company I bought it from, and I said, hey, that hard drive I just bought took a shit. He says, no problem, I'll send you another one. So, I get the new one yesterday afternoon. Alright, so I disconnect, these computers, they got 9,000 different cables, So I disconnect everything, I take it over to the workshop, we open the case up, pull out the dead hard drive, put the new hard drive in, put everything back together, bring it back to the studio, hook up all the cables. Now, here we go. We got a fully rebuilt computer. New hard drive, maximum memory, got a brand new graphics card, extra cooling fans for the case. We did that upright. So, got the new hard drive in, fire up the computer, because we're going to not only do a startup, a boot up test, but once it boots up, we got to, put Prism in there. So it starts to boot up. And then all of a sudden, it goes to black screen. I'm like, what the fuck? Brand new hard drive. It starts to boot and goes to a black screen. Nothing. So, I do what they call a hard shutdown. Unplug the power, Because whenever you mess with a hard drive, you unplug the power, plug the power cable back in, hit the start button. Okay, the screen starts. Next thing you know, goes to black screen. I'm like, wait a minute, what the shit? Did he send me a bad hard drive? So, we go to the backup computer. Unplug the power. Remove that hard drive, because we know in the backup computer that hard drive is working perfect. So, we take the hard drive out of computer A and we put it in computer B. Now this is the brand new hard drive that I just got. Hook everything up, hit the power button, up boots the computer. Windows comes up. I'm like, what the hell's going on here? Now, we know that we got that hard drive working perfect, which is the brand new one, and the hard drive we just took out of that computer, which was working perfect. So I take that hard drive and we put it in computer A. Make sure all the connections are tight. Plug in the power cable, hit power, starts to boot, black screen. I'm like, alright, what the hell's going on? So, disconnect that computer. And I drop it off with my computer repair guy. And he says, what's the problem? I says, brand new hard drive, all the brand new equipment you installed in there, cooling fans, memory, graphics card. He goes, yeah, I know. I said, well, it won't boot. He said, what do you mean it won't boot? I said, won't boot. So he says, all right, come on down to the repair shop. He hooks the computer, he's got it on the test, gets it all set to go, hits the start button, starts to boot, black screen. He's like, oh shit, I know what that is. I says, now what? He says the processor took a shit. I know, yeah, the processor. Yeah. The processor took a shit. Now, basically that means that computer is shot. A la kaput. Because I'm not going to run the risk of ordering a processor and hooking it up in that motherfucking motherboard, and it burn out a brand new processor. So, we not only burned out a hard drive, we burned out a processor. In other words, scrap. That computer's done. Quit. Finished. Kaput. Arrivederci. So now, we're down a computer. Because the small form factor computers don't have enough graphics card to run Prism. That's what happened just a few minutes ago. I figured, well, until we figure out a computer, we'll operate off one of the small form factors. No. As soon as we started the broadcast, it started to fuck up, and I got the red warning that says, graphics card will not handle Prism. So we shut down and went to the backup computer B, which basically, out of all of them, seems to be working the best. I should make it the main, but not yet. And then, figuring we got the hard drive coming, everything was going to be okay, I switched monitors. I took that nice Samsung monitor that was on computer B and switched it over to computer A. Well, guess what? I'm using the monitor from computer A, and I'll tell you what, this AI camera, it even makes this monitor look like $1 million. So, I contacted a friend of mine. He owns a computer repair and sales. And I says to him, I says, hey, I need a certain spec. What do you got? He says, well, what are you looking for? So I told him, I says, I got to have at least a 3.0 gigahertz processor. He said, what else? I said, well, I got to have at least 6 to 8 gigabytes of memory, RAM, random access memory, and I got to have at least a 500, gigabyte hard drive. He goes, what else? I says, well, I do need a little more powerful graphics card than what comes standard from the factory. He says, is that it? That's enough, isn't it? He said, what? I'm looking at one right now. I said, oh yeah, you just want to make a sale. You're looking at one. He goes, no, I got a good one here for you. He says, it just came in off a lease. I can give you a deal. I said, well, tell me. I'm interested. He says, well, it's got the processor that you want. Okay. It's got a 500 gigabyte hard drive. I said, okay. He said, it got 8 gigabytes of RAM. I said, okay. And it's got an entry level gaming GPU. I said, oh, now you're talking my language here. What else? He says, well, it's got a, which people don't care about, but it's got a, a DVD reader and writer. I says, oh, well, I'm not, okay. Hey, what else? He says, and it's a limited edition. I said, what do you mean limited edition? It's a Dell Inspiron limited edition 660. You'll love it. It's got a red case instead of a black case. I said, oh, well, nobody's going to see it except me. He says, I'll give it to you for cost. I says, how much is cost? When he told me, I almost fell out of the chair. I said, sold. When can I have it? He says, well, What do you want? Windows 10 Home, Windows 10 Pro, Windows 11 Home, or Windows 11 Pro? I said, 10 Pro. And I said, oh, by the way, it's got to be 64-bit. It is. I said, oh, okay. So the only thing he's got to do is install Windows 10 Pro. And then I can pick it up on the 3rd. Oh, works for me, and he'll have it done in time for me to hook everything up to go on air. Now, I didn't want to have to buy another computer. So what he's going to do for free, free, I like free, he's going to transfer over all the cooling fans that we installed in computer A, you know, the case, the 2-case cooling fans and the big fancy high-speed processor cooling fan. So he told me, drop off the broken computer. He says, whatever we can use and whatever will work, you can have. The only thing is, I get the computer for scrap. I said, that works for me. I got no use for it. It ain't no good anymore. See, he's got a couple of technicians that they'll reuse the motherboard and they'll strip that thing down. And, you know, he sells a lot of parts. Just as long as I get a nice computer. So, Studio A is going to get a fancy limited edition red case Dell Inspiron, and then we'll have the backup computer B that I'm running off of now. So hopefully next week the studio will be back to normal over here. Because, yeah, Studio A there's some kind of voodoo curse over here. You know, yesterday, I operated out of Studio B because I'm tired of every time I turn something on, it plucks up over here. Of course, after I did the stream, I realized I forgot to turn on the damn studio light, so I look like I'm in the dark, which I was. So today, I made a sign up. I put it above the monitor. Turn on studio light, okay? Sucks to get old, people. But I'll tell you what, this AI camera, I love it. I don't know what it's going to look like on your end, but on this monitor here, I look like I could reach out and touch myself. Better not. I'm liable to screw something up. And I still have to figure out how to turn on the automatic AI following feature. You know, this has got that, if I move this way, the camera will move that way, this way. I can't wait. I want to try it. You know, that way I can drive the camera crazy. But I have to do something that basically men never do. I have to read the instructions. Don't say a word. Damn bird. I heard him chuckling over there. He was chattering his little beak. just kidding. You'll be, tomorrow, the damn phone will be ringing. Come to my office. I never saw such a tattletale bird in my life. As a matter of fact, last week I told the CEO, why don't you just make room for him in your office? He just about lives there now, the way it is. And the CEO goes, hey, I'm tired of seeing it myself, but I gotta humor him because he's got a street named after him. Grumpy Vulture Boulevard, yeah. And like I said, you can see who rates around here. Look at the size of that sign versus Grumpy's sign. Oh, it's a third of the size. Yeah. They got one at the out by the street. If you blink, you drive right past Grumpy Old Man Road. That's how small a sign is. Of course, you can't miss, Grumpy Vulture Boulevard. Fucking huge sign. It's like a freeway sign. Damn bird. And then, to make matters worse, a friend of mine sent me a USB soundboard. Supposed to be plug and play. Brand new. He says, you can use it in Studio B because it's USB. It's a mixer and a soundboard in one. It's got a whole bunch of buttons for sound effects. Applause and, screaming women. And brand new. So, I decided to tinker with it a little bit today. Everything worked except the microphone. Pissed me off. Plug the microphone in, don't work. Now, believe me, our storeroom has got microphones up the ass. For some reason, no matter what microphone I plugged in, it didn't work. And that was even after reading the instructions. I guess I need to get a 5-year-old to come in here and wire it up for me. I'm pretty sure I had all the wires the way they should have been. But it wouldn't work. No. No matter what microphone. Now, when I plugged the headset in, worked perfect. I could hear all the sound effects. The sound effects were coming through Prism. But I couldn't get the microphone to work. So, tomorrow, I'm going to come in the studio a little early, and I'm going to see if I plug the USB microphone direct in the computer, instead of plugging it into the mixer/soundboard, will it work? Will I have the microphone and the sound effects? Because that would be cool. And nothing ever want to work, the way I want it to work. I just... But boy, I'll tell you what, that pissed me off when my computer repairman up the street said, uh-oh, your processor is burned out. In all the years I've had computers, I've never had a processor burn out. And I says to him, I says, we even installed that high-speed cooling fan to make sure. Because these processors, if you overwork them, man, they get hot in these computers. We even, another thing, when you change the cooling fans, you have to change the lithium grease. Oh yeah. It's a special, I'll show you a tube tomorrow. It's gold. Oh. It's a cooling contact grease. Goes between the cooling plate of the cooling fan and the top of the processor. Bought the expensive shit, and the damn processor still took a shit. I'm starting to think, it wasn't it was the hard drive, because the hard drive did, yeah. I was gonna say maybe the hard drive didn't go bad after all, but oh no, this thing, now it's a wheel chock. I'm gonna use it in the truck. Put it underneath the wheel to keep the truck from rolling down the driveway. Yeah, that's about all it's worth. That or an anchor for a small boat. Dead. Kaput. And it was a good one. It's a Seagate. They're one of the leading manufacturers of hard drives. I should send this back to Seagate and say, hey, your hard drive fucked up. How about sending me a new one? Oh. I don't think so. They're not that gullible. I got the little small form factor computers. I got 3 of them. And basically, the only thing they're really good for is like if I want to do a background. I've been thinking about hanging a monitor up behind me and putting a looping video on it. That's about all the little ones are good for. I can't run Prism, and I can't run any of the other streaming programs because they all require a certain spec graphics card. Because I was going to attempt to use a different streaming program. Nope. Won't do it. There's like 10 different streaming programs out there for non-professionals like Grumpy. Now, like I told you originally, I had tried, this one called StreamYard, and then another one called Restream. I couldn't figure them fuckers out to save my life. So I uninstalled them, and I went on Gargle, and I typed in streaming programs for dummies, and it came up with Prism. First one up, Prism. So I installed it. Been working for me like a charm. Except I still can't figure out why I can't get a second platform installed on this computer. Now, computer A had YouTube and Faceplant. I installed the same identical software. I got YouTube. I can't get Faceplant to install. Makes no goddamn sense. So I'm hoping when I get the new computer on the 3rd that when I install Prism, I can install YouTube and Faceplant. Although everybody's telling me I should add like a third, like TikTok or Twitcher or, one of those others. Because there's a whole group. When I hit the drop-down box, it's got like 10 different platforms. I'm having enough problem with 2, let alone 3. Although everybody keeps telling me, well, if you add like TikTok, you'll get more coverage, and you might even get more subscribers. More subscribers. You mean I'll get 50 instead of 49? Would be nice to get one more. Although we went from 49 to 47. And then back to 49. But I can't hit that 50 mark. And I don't like begging. Nothing pisses me off more than you're watching a video and, next thing you'll see, a button clicker will come up, subscribe, share, I don't like begging. And I hate that shit when it comes up. There's one YouTuber, I watch quite a bit of his stuff. Now, he has good content. But in the middle of the damn video, up pops, subscribe, share, And I always, down in the comments, I said, quit with the goofy shit already, the clicky crap. If people want to subscribe, they'll do it on their own. They don't need you to keep with subscribe, share, like. Of course, they want to boost their algorithm. Gagarithm. I'm just on here to run a stream. I'm not here to beg. That same thing, people like, oh, join our Patreon. Give us some super chats. I'm not monetized anyway, so it wouldn't make any difference. But even if I was, I wouldn't be begging for super chats. People shouldn't have to pay to watch Grumpy. And that's the way I feel it is. When somebody says, oh, give us a super chat. That's like saying, hey, pay to watch me. Grumpy ain't into that shit. Ain't into good cigarettes either. Here we go again. Come on. There we go. So I can finish it. I didn't get too many comments about yesterday's stream. I thought for sure there'd be comments up the ass. With that goddamn mother that, oh, I'm afraid of my son. So to appease him, I'll buy him a faster, higher horsepower car. And then he goes out and kills his best friend in it. I still don't know what that woman was thinking. She had this app on her phone. I'm not going to rehash yesterday's stream, but she had an app, Life 360. And every time her son got in the car, it notified her where he was and how fast he was going. And this kid was 100, 125, 140, 150. There was one screenshot, actually it was a video. He was doing 155 miles an hour for 20 minutes. He had to be doing it at night. Because the Michigan Highway Patrol, you don't want to fuck with them. So, wherever he was, yeah, 155 miles an hour for 20 minutes. And he put it on his social media. So everybody knew. But his mother had this app. All she had to do was call the police and say, hey, he's on the M6 going southbound. He's doing 140. He's in a white BMW M3 X3 M Series. The M Series is the high performance. You know, originally had a Audi Sports Coupe. They still haven't said what model it was. But it was capable of 160 miles an hour. And he'd been doing 140 in it. So, what does his mother do? Instead of buying a lower horsepower car, she goes out and buys this BMW X3 M Series that tops out at 180. I don't know what this woman was thinking. So you're afraid of your kid, let's buy him, a higher horsepower car. Had he not gotten the accident, what was the next one? A Ferrari? A Lamborghini? A SpaceX rocket? She knew where he was at all times. All she had to do was look at her cell phone. And she was afraid to call the police. Oh, I'm afraid of my kid. Yeah, there was one time he beat the shit out of her because she wouldn't give him an American Express gold card. What does a 19-year-old kid need an American Express gold card for? Get a job. Earn your own money. Get your own gold card. Oh, this kid must have been a real prick. She was afraid of him. Oh, he throws things. He yells. He screams. Now, is he 19 years old or 5? The kid throws a tantrum, bend him over your knee and whip his ass. That's where she went wrong. Because she said he caused problems when he was little. Well, it's obvious she didn't nip it in the bud when he was little. Instead of beating his ass, she probably give him a little time out. Take a time out, sit in the chair, calm down. Been my kid, I'd have bent him over my knee and blistered his ass. So, from a little kid, she let him get away with shit, constant. And up until her and her husband got divorced, where was the father in all this? They didn't mention him. Unfortunately, after the divorce, he suddenly passed away. But they didn't say anything about how he handled the kid. I get the impression both parents just looked the other way and let him have whatever he wanted. If he threw a tantrum, here, take what you want. I can guarantee with the Audi, he was probably crying his eyes out. Oh, I want something that's faster with more horsepower. Okay, I'll go buy this M Series BMW for you. It'll do 180. How's that? Well, it'll do for now, Mom. I want something that'll do, 220, 240 the next time. That's probably the conversation they had. Because he told her several times, I'd like something with over 600 horsepower. Well, just because he wants it, does that mean you go get it? That was one thing I forgot to do today. I wanted to look up the specs on a BMW X3 M Series and see what the specification, what the horsepower rating was. But to do 180 miles an hour, had to be up there. Go watch yesterday's stream. I'm not going to rehash the whole thing. But with that, I got a few things, couple of loose ends I got to do in the studio. So, I will chat with you tomorrow. Everybody